Hi everyone, my name is Ryan and welcome to Math with RG. Alright, so today's lesson, we are going to be working on equations of linear functions for Algebra 1, writing an equation in slope-intercept form. Okay, so what is slope-intercept form? Well, slope-intercept form is this equation right here. Y equals mx plus b. Now the m stands for slope, and slope is rise over run. And slope is rise over run. What that means is we're going to rise, so up or down for the y, and then run for the x, left or right. Very important that you use those words, up or down, left or right. So if the y is positive, we're going to go up. If the y is negative, we're going to go down. If the x is positive, we're going to go to the right. If the x is negative, we're going to go to the left. Now only one of them, y or x, for the slope, can be negative. Okay, and then the b is the y-intercept, meaning where does the actual graph cross the y-axis? It will cross at a specific point, and that will be your b. Okay, so let's dive into it. They gave you the slope, which is -2/5, and a point on the line, 5, -4. And they're asking you to write the equation. So the equation, again, has to be in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write that again. Y equals mx plus b. I'm going to ask myself, how many variables do I see? Well, I see 4 variables. So, now the second question is this. How many variables do I know at this moment? Well, they gave me the slope, and the slope is represented by the letter m. So that means that I know m. And then they gave me a point. Now, what do we know about points on a line? Well, points on a line are always x, comma, y, right? Or a point on any graph is x, comma, y. So if there's 4 variables, y, m, x, and b, and I know m, I also know x and y. So I can just plug everything in and then solve for the one that I don't have, which is the b. Then I can write my final equation. Now this goes for any formula that you ever deal with, right? If you have the formula and you have multiple variables and then you know a few of those variables, you just plug everything in and you solve for the missing one. So here we go. We know that the y is -4. We know that the m, I'm going to use parentheses, is -2/5. We know the x is 5. And then we don't know the b, so I just write plus b. So now I solve. So we have -4 equals, we have -2/5 times 5. Now what does that actually mean? Well, when I'm multiplying with fractions, I have to do top times top and bottom times bottom. Now notice that the number 5 doesn't have a bottom that we can see, but actually it's just a 1, right? So 5/1 means 5 divided by 1, and 5 divided by 1 is 5, so I didn't change the value. So notice that there's a 5 on the top, and there's also a 5 on the bottom. So I can actually do cross cancellation. So we go like this, because it actually ends up being 5 divided by 5, and that's 1. So that means that the -2 is just going to be left over, plus the b. And now it says -2 plus b. How do I get the b by itself? I have to do the opposite of what is happening. Since there's a -2, I have to do the opposite, which would be +2. And the -2 is not multiplying against anything, so that's why I'm just adding it to the other side. So now we have -4 plus 2 is -2, right? Because if I borrow $4, that's negative. And then I gain $2, I still owe $2 more, right? Because I borrowed 4. Equals b. So now I can write my final equation, which is y equals the slope, right, which is the -2/5 times the x, and then the b, since the b is -2, I write -2. And this is our final answer. All right, great work. Let's go to the next example. Now, this time we have to write the equation in slope-intercept form, but they gave us 2 points. So again, I have to know the slope and I have to know the intercept, right? Because slope-intercept form literally means that you're going to see the slope and the intercept in the equation, right? Remember right here, y equals -2/5 x minus 2. The -2/5 is the slope. The -2 is the intercept. Okay, so we have to find the slope first. So let's write out the formula. M equals the second y minus the first y divided by the second x minus the first x. Now, I could have done the first y minus the second y and the first x minus the second x. Doesn't really matter as long as you do it in the same order, right? So if you start with the first one, you got to start with the first one. If you start with the second one, then you got to start with the second one. Okay, so let's type it in, or let's fill it in. So we have m equals 7 minus 3 over 5 minus 2, right? So you can see how the 7 and the 5 line up, and then the 3 and the 2 line up. Okay, so now we're going to do it. 7 minus 3 is 4, 5 minus 2 is 3, so now we have our slope. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to write the equation of the line, right? So the slope-intercept form one more time. We have y equals mx plus b. Again, there's 4 variables. How many do I know? Well, I know the m, that's the 4/3, right? And then I have 2 points. Well, both points are x and y. So which point do I use? Trick question, actually. It does not matter because they're both on the same line. So I'm going to use, let's say, the 2, 3. So we know that the 3 is the y, and the m is 4/3, the x is 2, and then again we're missing the b. Now I'm going to look out for cross cancellation, but I don't see any, right? We have 4 divided by 3, we can't reduce that. We have a 2 over 3 as well, we can't reduce that. So we're just going to multiply it. 3 equals, we're going to do 4 times 2, because those are both on the top. So that's 8. And then 3 times 1, right? Because the 2 is really 2 over 1. So that's 3 plus b. Okay, so now we have to get b by itself, right? So we have a positive 8/3, and it's not multiplying against anything, so we're going to subtract 8/3 on both sides. Okay, so now we have a fraction problem, right? We have 3 minus 8/3. So we have 3 minus 8 over 3. That's what we're working with. Now with fractions, we cannot subtract them unless they have the same denominator, right? So the same bottom number. So right now my bottom number is just a 1, and I need it to be a 3, right? Because 1 and 3, the lowest common denominator would be 3. So I'm going to multiply the bottom by 3, which means I have to multiply the top by 3, right? Because 3 over 3 is really just 1, so I'm really just multiplying by 1. So it's going to look like this. We're going to have a 3 times 3 on the top, and then a 1 times 3 on the bottom. So you can see right here, right, the 3 over 3, 3 divided by 3 is really 1, so technically I'm multiplying by 1, so I'm not changing the value. That's the most important part. Okay, so then we have 9 over 3, and again, 9 divided by 3 is 3, so you can see that I did not change the value. Minus 8 over 3, and that is going to equal the b. Since the denominators are the same, I can now just subtract the top part, so 9 minus 8 is 1, so 1 over 3 is my b. So now I can write my final answer. Y equals, remember the slope was 4/3, times x, and then plus the 1/3. And that is my final answer. All right, great job everyone. You're all set for today. Please check out the next. Great job on finishing today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, tell your friends and family. And if you want to dive deeper into chapter test work, you can check out my Skool platform, skool.com. The link will be in the bio below. And if you want more information on one-on-one tutoring, you can check out my website, rgtutors.com. Thank you again, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye for now.